I am curious how defensively it's going to work, because I think back to like other deadlocks we've seen right on Lotus, and it's just like, how does she normally function there? And and that's where I'm just like, well, we'll have to wait and see, because ROSO are also starting out on that defensive half as well, so we're gonna get the answer here pretty soon. And as well, quick reminder, this is actually Cloud9's pick, so ROSO chose to start out on that defensive side too. So maybe I personally like starting on my weaker half sometimes, just to get it out of the way, you know. And also, while it's your warm-up half anyways, so you can just cope, and then be confident going into the second half once you're firing. But how do you feel about Lotus and the perspective of C9 starting on the attack?
As far as C9 starting on attack, well, I'm sure they're happy about it, because most teams do want to start on attack to be able to control the tempo on this map, or even feel out how the enemy team wants to play their comp. But because it's ROSO picking into it, it gives me the idea that they must have some set plays, some set ideas on defense that they know that they can capitalize off of, like what we're seeing right now, essentially.
Got a little trap going.
It's a quick firefight here, and C9 come out on top, just tearing down these players outside of B main, looking for that aggression here for ROSO. And it's all up to Ashley in a 1v3 scenario. She does have to go for the retake, but unfortunately, not too much to work with here, Zoe.
Yeah, it was a nice risk there, I think, to take that initial engagement. Would have given the 2v2, but Sari too quick on their heels, and now it's Ashley, the leader, left in a 1v3 with 38 HP because of secondary follow-up, and she's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah, not much you can do in this situation. Maybe do a little bit of damage if possible, but all these players are low. There is not a world, though, when you consider the positioning here for C9. All three tucked into CT at the moment. This defuse, just about impossible. Would require a huge mistake to go down, and it's definitely not going to happen here. C9, they pick up the first round, and I'm going to be honest, a part of me keeps wanting to add the white after I say C9, and I'm biting my tongue on it. But an expected clean round here for C9. I think it was a great response considering the trap play that ROSO was throwing out there, and the aggression that was coming through. Because we saw the vision, but C9, they shot back, and they were on top in the firefight.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Sarah was at the core, I think, of that damage control as well. Now coming to the next, obviously, ROSO gonna be going for a little bit of a gamble stack on the eco, and C9 playing that more defaulted look, handling aggression, you know, posted up pillar, posted up A, just getting information on where the stack could be. So not gonna be running into a site all willy-nilly, and I like that ROSO haven't really called bluff too early just yet either. Like, you'll sometimes see if they don't hear any noise, they'll immediately all pivot towards A. That's what Sarah's trying to force out, actually.
Not gonna bite, though. Look at how patiently ROSO are gonna hold that space here on C. Sarah's gotten so much space on A, though, just continuing to walk up, clear these angles to ensure nobody is tucked in some sort of corner here. This timing could actually, though, be kind of crazy for Ashley, depending on how this fight goes. They're both gonna hold, though, waiting for for each other, essentially, to over-rotate. Should be a clean plant here for the side of C9. The way that ROSO are playing, though, being able to stick together, kind of curious to see if they will attempt a retake situation, or if it's going to be one of those moments where they just want to perish that spike.
Yeah, they perfectly played the early round anti-eco, right? Nobody dying, getting a perfect spike plant, identifying where the weak and strong sites were, and at this point, this could even just be a die to spike angle. I mean, look at the defenses on these chokes, right? Your player with just the Sheriff ready to play off the paranoia, so they're minimizing risk here, too.
Oh, but they're going for the set plays into this retake. Investment to go in, but a nice counter with the paranoia out from Gia. There was nothing ROSO could do, and the time ticking away now. They're still going to look to do a little bit of damage overall. It's not going to come through thus far, and it's a clean round here for the side of C9.
Oh, yeah, perfection there. A flawless for Cloud9. Game changers as Marceline gets full wind from that sniper rifle. And yeah, I mean, again, you could not have played that round more textbook if you were Cloud9. And I think the only thing that could have changed for ROSO would have been maybe a faster pivot. Maybe one of those C players goes B so that Ashley can get at least a jiggle line and early info on that Sari lurk A side. And I think the hardest part about that is they don't even know that Sari was the one that lurked up, right? Or if it was the entire team, because they never got wind of there until the spike had been planted.
It's really good information denial there. Unintentional on the side of C9, but something that's definitely in their back pocket. Aggressive push out from ROSO. They're going to clear out the entirety of A main, and with the sound that's being made here at C, Shiny has the understanding that near the entirety of C9 are going to be waiting outside of this site. The delay is good though with the snake bite. Also got the paranoia going in. The barrier orb comes through here as well. And so much has already been invested here by the side of C9 with the presence that they've shown outside of the singular site, with honestly only not even a third of the round having ticked by.
Yeah, I mean, both Thorns gone. I feel like they're cycling the util really well between that Deadlock and that Viper from ROSO on that seaside anchor, but it looks like C9 are looking to re-hit while it's still on that regeneration timer, right?
They definitely are. Second lurk smoke to go out, and the entire team is on the site.
Ooh, and Marceline, again, a fierce entry finds two with that bot up Vandal actually into the air quotes bonus round. And honestly, this point, so I was going to see if they can find any cheeky little kills to find a way back into this round, or they might even have to start thinking about a save.
This is a moment where if you don't get a kill in the next 5 seconds, it has to really be a save situation. Especially with the 3 rifles that they're carrying over. I'm surprised to see they're actually looking to drop that, and Uni's gonna shut down one. Somehow though, things are starting to turn 2v2 now here. Half on the spike defuse, and we might just get to stick the entire thing. And is that a round win for ROSO? The cover was good. Sari not there in time. And that's crazy. That was a round that felt like should have gone the side of C9, but heroics from that retake, especially Gerald getting that 2K there from ROSO to open things back up.
And we need to talk about Vex's frontside smoke as well, right? I feel like C9 had such a hard time navigating it, and that's what kind of set up some of these early reflood kills from ROSO. And Sarah, just seconds too late, like you mentioned, the perfect bodyguarding comes through from Gerald to sneak that defuse away. I mean, it's costly, right? Every single player falling, but it gets the job done. So curious to see how that's going to fare coming into the next round for ROSO, and what their buy situation's going to look like. Right? Like, I'm not seeing too many shield possibilities. I might even have Gerald buy for someone else and then Showstopper if you really, really want to try and equate here. But otherwise, again, C9, when they force up, they know they can buy next. They know it's mostly a bonus. And they might even just go for some default orb farming to get like a Nightfall in line for Lily.
Yeah, it feels so bad not being able to actually comfortably buy up after that round win. Thank you for bearing with us through that little tech pause. We had a little mouse DC, but everyone's back and connected now. ROSO, though, they're postured for that aggression outside of A. Once again, just to seize control of Rubble. Pressure the side of C9 off, but it is just going to be Sari continuously lurking on that side of the map. C9 are more than happy to continue to run back that C side when things have largely been working out with their conditioning that we've seen here for that mountain control.
And again, it's like C9 know what the economy is like. They know what the playstyle is going to be like subsequently. So they start slow. They get on the aggro off angles to see if there's any front mound scaling. And when G doesn't see anything, she says, green light, go. We're good to take that space. And coming into this round, we're not going to have that brunt of utility, right? I think for ROSO to stop a C-Exa, and they're already destroying some of those defenses just to pop up, to spread these players even thinner without that certainty in the back of their mind so that it's covered.
Yeah, just to pose that additional threat. But with how deep of a line they have for ROSO over at A, you also feel pretty confident that it's still going to be a lean on the left side of the map. I like this re-clear, though, from C9. They have the understanding of that.
Yeah, but that little Prowler gets overswung. They want that extra confirmation C-side. That does not come other than the form of a kill, and even Ashley re-swinging, but the re-engagement on A is underway. Gerald getting overwhelmed. No!
30 seconds left.
Yeah, you can't do too much there. It is insane that Gerald walks away with a pick, though. And now it's going to be Sari to turn things back around. That's still stuck in the corner. It doesn't matter, though. You've got the game changers, Deagle, on deck. Thankfully, Lele on the side of C9, able to rescue that round, but way too close for comfort considering how things were going. It started to fall apart with those picks that we saw coming through from ROSO. Actually wild how the individual mechanics nearly won them that.
100%. Like that eco and the first eco were like night and day differences between very passive, very gamble stack, and like proactive, get on a line, take those engagements together, right? And the only thing that saves them is C9's passing like the 3K baton between players. Like everyone's having their moment, it feels like right now. So now with weapons in hand, they're still going on this sort of aggro style, right? Gerald prepared at a moment's notice, it feels like, to rock it out off the paranoia.
Very much so. Pick though goes over to the side of Lele. You have Ashley still trying to swing into 3 though. Vexen's not able to provide the support needed. Unfortunately, forced off the angle. Using the smoke to try and provide that cover. Cross back over B side though. Gonna be free for the taking. Is Shiny gonna be able to get a pick? Maybe look to delay. There's a snake bite available, but you need to be able to get one.
Spotted her out, and then she does. And now you can't
Spike planted.
safely hold, so Gia pacifying smoke. Trying to get some of these corners off while regrouping, but Vex has been forced even deeper into C-Link, and this is going to take a lot of time to regroup.
Yeah, it takes so long to walk back over there because you don't want to give that second over. It's at this point, you might as well look for a save situation considering the money on the side of ROSO. They don't even have that paranoia to get back into the site, right?
Last player standing.
We're taking some risks here. Shiny, please run. It's not gonna happen. Gia's gonna close that one off, and I feel like this is where we're seeing a little bit of the dichotomy and juxtaposition between the experience on both these rosters. Right? Like,
yeah,
rounds where you kind of expect that save to come through, and ROSO are still gonna go and look to attempt the round when I feel like overall probably a better disciplined decision to call for the save economically.
I think it's also compositional difference too, right? We see the lack of flashes on ROSO. I think punishing some of these early engagements they want to take, right? Gerald nades out, it gets disrespected because there's no flashes, and they just all fall in that early fight. And you saw the flashes doubly benefit the March lane entry, and then that late cycling of the Arcros as well to stall that 2v4 situation there as they tried to get out of C-Link. So yeah, all in all, do agree right now we're seeing the depth differences, and once again, the same idea. ROSO get aggressive, C9 hold their ground, and we'll go from there.
It's not to say that there aren't the changes in what they want to do, right? Like even the C-Man stack that you had called out, being in a change in positioning for this squad. Gerald gonna play the trigger discipline, one unfortunately doesn't get another.
Down, C.
However, beside of ROSO, they're still looking to answer. You got a couple weapons that you can pick up here over on that C side as well, but both players can split. Spike in hand though.
Last player standing.
We're out. The high-low is good, and Sari's gonna come out on top. That Spike recovered here. Unfortunately, Shiny is completely separated from everything. Did they get the door? Won't happen. I was kind of worried about her giving that position away. Now it's all about time. That waiting game.
Yeah.
See where C9 want to plant.
They should have seen that
30
weapon got
seconds
scooped up as well from the trophy B main fight 1. Shiny on a mad dash to beat them over towards A, hoping Toxic Green will buy a little bit additional delay, and she will get here. The question's going to be if time is on her side and if she can isolate these 1v1s. That too.
Oh, but there's also a Molly in return. Unfortunately, not going to be able to deny that plant. Fight to try and divvy them up, but it's not going to work out that way. You've got Gia to close out that round, and C9, they've got a very solid lead here on Lotus.
And there was some impressive, I think, early round kills found there by ROSO with the Sheriff. So it was a little bit more coordinated on that fight. Obviously, the trigger discipline as well, benefiting Gerald a little bit in that situation. I think it was more so the fight that gave way to the 2v2 was Silly Girl fighting C9 early, right? C9 wanted to regroup and fight that 2v1, and they kind of gifted it, right? Versus if they had tried to like hit the Rebellion door, grouped up a bit earlier, it could have been a little bit different, and that's where you need that decisiveness, not just from your idea, but from everybody in the team. And now moving into the next, this is a must win, right, for the side of ROSO. attack, defense, start, regardless, right? You have 5 ultimates, you have a buy. If you mess this up, C9 will have such an advantage before the side swap. And I think that's where C9 haven't even had to dip into their own ultimates. They've just been stockpiling and stockpiling. And now this is going to be a crazy, crazy round, Ash. Like, we got to like buckle in and get ready.
You know, things are going to get really hectic. Again, though, I think we've seen ROSO putting some cool set plays into the server. They have ideas that they're putting onto the table. It's just right now, C9, the reactions have been so much better thus far. So I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to find that success that they're looking for off the back of that timeout. It was huge heroics for them to even get that one round that they do have on the board by Gerald and Vexen. So looking to repeat history here. I think the cycling that you had shouted out earlier as well, Zerby, has been really nice.
Well, you have all these ults, yeah, just diving into a strong A fight is to be predicted. And I mentioned Ashley being left as a solo pillar for anchoring, and she just falls immediately.
That's so unfortunate. Now Prowler to clear out tree. You've got the entirety of the A site due to the From the Shadows from Gia here as well. And so much space that's now been contested with that one way you pop over. Very common here over on Heaven. And Paranoia to respond on top of that. The Nightfall is going to be hard to find that purchase that they're looking for. Showstopper out though from Gerald is going to find his mark.
Yeah, but look at the reframe. There's 2 players that replaced Marceline who just fell.
Okay, what can Lily do though? It's gonna be 1, and now just across the board, Uni is gonna be using
1 enemy remaining.
What? To ensure they won't have the weaponry to look with, and now it's gonna be Sari to close the round out. Tough. I mean, you can't really do too much with you. Like, I can't really say too much more. It's honestly just tough.
Yeah, I mean, the regroup timing from Uni to pop the Steel Garden, Sari's corner not getting cleared while Silly Girl swapping guns. It was like unfortunate occurrence after unfortunate occurrence after it looked like there was a chance for ROSO to stabilize after Ashley fell so early into the map, or sorry, into the round, right? And at this point, it's like, okay, yeah, you only used 2 of them, but the guns have been reset, right? And we'll see if ults are not to get them over that hump that these close ecos have been, but C9, right, are just going to keep running this back now on the A side.
They are, and honestly, I think ROSO should just buy chips for the rest of the game because they're actually insane with the shots that they keep hitting in these situations. Actually, holding on the point here on this A site, down to 2 players. Viper's hit up from Sari. They've got to get that spike initiated. Nade, though, to look to disrupt.
Gia going aggro. The transfer is good. She's on for the ace clutch, but she's blocked out by the barrier mesh. The Shrouded Step is the perfect counter. And with a minute left, the world is her oyster. She can go wherever she wants.
Shiny, who's gonna get the W for ROSO? A thrifty round for this team right off the back of their timeout. The success that they were looking for. It gets a little bit scrappy, not the way that they were looking for, I think, when that gun round actually came through. But being able to do that on your thrifty regardless, hey, you gotta take those. You gotta take those. That's like, those are those momentum winning rounds here as well that you want to run with.
And it came off of Silly Girl's support, right, for Ashley in that backside, right? That sees catches 2 players, sets up the first kill, allows for the reflood, and that's the kind of team synergy and support we need to see out of ROSO. But C9 are not taking it lightly, right back into the A catapult.
Ooh, that was the most aggressive take that we've seen so far from ROSO. And this toxic screen, divvying these players up. Marceline is still going to come out on top with a 3K. Now, that A site, comfortable, right? You've got Uni on the lurk looking to cut off these rotations. The timing should be good for Ashley, though, and it definitely still will be. 2v2 now. You do have the Annihilation to work with here.
And you know that pit was your C, so you can frame and get aggressive, flip the site. It's gonna be the perfect counter. My only concern is that Spike's not really planted for that aggression, so they are just playing purely for the stairs wrap timing.
Which has
1 enemy remaining.
It is.
And I'm out of here. Works out. Marceline's looking for the ace now. 4K in pocket. Trying to race over. Ashley's gonna be able to get half at the very least. Pops off and gets the drop on Marceline now. Getting that half through. That defuse spot. So good for the Red Bull clutch here for the side of ROSO. But unfortunately, for Lele. Not gonna be able to have the angle to deny that retake. That's actually just insane. You called it out, and man, my head is in my hands, honestly.
I mean, how do we go from like back-to-back ace like potentials to back-to-back Red Bull clutches, right? Like that's what stands out to me right now for ROSO, starting to close this gap, starting to make it a respectable half, considering it is more of an attack-sided map. And we mentioned some of the set plays the double net still have on the attack. And at this point, this is I think the 4th round C9 have started in a row, Ash.
Yeah, it's kind of curious to see them not go back to that C side that was working so well for them previously. Uni still not punished with this aggression though. Damage from the nade and the double swing is just going to be a little bit more powerful. I feel like you can see a bit more of the confidence that ROSO are playing with now after the past couple of rounds, and with the annihilation used, it will be denied by the team.
Oh, and then stun comes through, but not before Marceline fries Ashley, and that was the Yuta holding the site together, right? It hadn't been destroyed, it hadn't been fought through, so now, once again, numbers disadvantage on the retake.
Great angle here for Sari, not even gonna have that corner cleared by Shiny, actually. 2v4, money situation, it might be a save, it doesn't matter. These players are always hungry for kills.
ROSO never save. That's the lesson I've learned from this. And this
Today
round,
I learned.
yeah, is no exception, right? But Sari, the late round just like cinch pin for Cloud9. Time and time again, another 3K on the board for her. She's just like the glue holding these post plants together.
It is insane, honestly. It's like the post plant site is her playground, with how she's just walking around, getting those kicks so comfortably, and often uncontested at times as well. But we've seen a bit of the changes now from ROSO. I'm liking the change in aggression that's come out from them, and they're playing a little bit more together with the combinations that we wanted to see as well in utility.
And we mentioned it, right? How C9 had gone 4 times A in a row. I think it seems like ROSO picked up on that with Gerald and Vex switching over for the eco, but unfortunately that happens to be the round C9 go back to this anti-eco default. They on these typically start C side, have somebody holding for the pillar early engagement that ROSO did do for one of their ecos, and again, it just rewards their scaling and allows them to get answers wherever they need. And I think we've yet to see like the lurk pillars taken down by these early aggressive style ROSO engagements. They've always been running to the team fight, it feels like, and then it's like a coin flip of if they win those or not.
Yeah. Also, just seeing them playing very passively on A. Last time we saw on the eco, they had at least one person tucked over into rubble, but now C9, they feel very comfortable walking up on this site, but 2 are walking down, and that toxin screen is going to be such a saving grace from Sari. The vice wall there as well, going to give that information if the lurk does come through, but Shiny taking out Marceline there is a huge first blood to get, and the plant though.
Spike planted.
Oh, Sari, second timing found to escape, and now she might even get a backstab late through the C post plant, and that's going to be kind of pinched now with also this net engagement into Waterfall.
Not going to work out though. Just gonna be a trade hunt still available for the information. They're going in with the showstopper though on Lele, and now the flood is starting to look good. Picking up some weapons here. It's all up to Sari once again and able to clutch it out. A Red Bull clutch here from Sari. You were talking about it, Zoe, how she has been the bodyguard in these post plants, and she does it again.
I was worried the timing was going to be late, that they would just skip up the weapons, Spike's not really planning for it, and nope, just the calls freaked out at the last second, Vex can't get the flick, and yeah, another 3K comes through, and I don't know, I feel like the C9 refight there into Waterfall when you already have a flank coming might be a bit overkill, like you can just jiggle it and make noise in that fashion, but all in all, that's a round robbed away, where ROSO were doing some really great things while investing ultimates on the eco, and that's after they finally got aggressive players to shut down these anti-eco lurks from C9, like we had just mentioned, we wanted them to do.
For sure, we definitely have to give them that credit for the eco rounds, even on the ones where they don't find that success, they're always still able to make it so close. Very Mesh yet to be shot out here, not wanting to give that information away here. Yeah, they just want to cut that judge around the corner. You don't want to take that risk. Not even gonna bite. See what Gerald's gonna be able to do with this upright angle though.
Oh. be a matter if she can get the transfer at this point. And she dodges the paranoia.
The slide through here from Marceline still to come out on top. Unfortunate there. Shrouded step away from Vexen to get out scot-free. Not gonna take a lick of damage.
Actually gonna follow even further back, right? Wait for the refloods, but Marceline gets a blind kill through stairs.
They do. Oh, trying to pull rotations away though. Actually, Scott, really awkward timing. Actually, just getting out of sight on time.
30 seconds left.
I think that it should be the end for its B, but again, look at Sari and how annoying her positioning is going to continue to be in these post-plant scenarios, especially when there's such a numbers advantage on the side of C9.
I do like the reframing, right? They made a lot of noise A side, and they were holding for the Sari wrap this time around. They learned their lesson, but now it's gonna double down. Gia on the way, Marceline holding down Link. This feels like it should be shaping up fairly well as long as these main players can delay.
2 smokes to work with. At the very least, Snakebite as well into Little Door time deny, but Uni's looking for a tiny
enemy remaining.
out, and the defuse not gonna get got to half this time around. Flood back into sight. Unfortunately, that smoke did just miss.
Switching sides.
For it to cover that defuse there. So we're gonna swap sides. C9. They walk away at a 9-3 half. Overall, I think just about what we expected, but I think we got to give a lot of credit thus far to the adaptations that we've seen come out from ROSO and some of the success, even though it hasn't necessarily always netted into a round.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think it is that experience gap, right? They have the creative ideas, they have the firepower, it's just harnessing it, versus C9 have always had their plans, their decisiveness in place, even into the late round. And last round where they finally deal with Sari, right? You had Gia immediately peel off and just replace her. So, again, they pick up the slack immediately for each other too, and for it being a newer form roster, kind of like again with players like Lily stepping in, that is really promising to see the longevity of this team in this Swiss stage. So I mean, the next half though, we mentioned it, how this could go, but if you lose the pistol in 9-3, it might not matter, Ash. Ooh.
It might not. These pistol rounds can get so scrappy as well. Gia gonna go for the swing and not gonna have any of that support nor a pick to answer for it.
Okay.
Barrier mesh over there as well. Kind of surprised that we're actually going for this plant considering all the space planted.
Yep. Uni spotted out here on the flank. Should be done dusted. Group up. Little triangle of trust to close off the pistol or not. The solo re-engage is giving ones to Uni, but whew, you can let out the breath. The pistol's been won. The 9-3 curse is settled in, and we could have a game on our hands.
We definitely could. It might be a world where, you know, you see a little bit more of that comfort here on the attacking side. We did wonder if it was going to be that story of comfort here for ROSO, wanting to close things off on maybe a slightly stronger half for them.
Over there.
And this is funny.
Well,
Do you see Marceline has double the deaths of like anybody on her team?
Marceline's
Yeah, because but even like on that pistol, right? She's the first one in, right? And I think that's showing. And then she's doing it again for the eco on the second. The bandit, I don't think it's necessarily been buffed on old map pool just yet, but she's getting ready for it. And the paranoia is perfect to set up this fight. The C's name though is damage control.
What an insane response at the season 8 timing. That is crazy. I think that's the fastest round that we've had in this game thus far. But I think it was a cool idea there from the side of ROSO with that nade seize. It was the expectation of some of that aggression that was going to be coming out, and it works out really nicely.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's like C9 do it positionally, and ROSO does the anti-eco util-wise, right? In order to deny those sort of aggro plays. So coming in the next though, I kind of wanted C9 now that they have weapons to tone it down pacing-wise a little bit. You know, just sit back on their sites, relax just a touch. Because yeah, you can get punished. I mean, look at that early net just to try and get mound space, but because Agia TP'd across, they know that it was a farce, and so now they have all that space. They can keep the double stack here to engage on this A hit.
That they can. It's going to be trades across the board though, still even in numbers. They trigger the door over at A, just trying to bait that they are actually walking in. It's not going to be the case though. And now it's just about cutting noise. Still a minute to work with here in this round.
Oh, this reswings everything.
One enemy remaining.
And they're ready for it. The punish is so good. It's all up to Sari. And you know that if you want any player on the side of C9 in a clutch situation though, it's going to be her.
Oh, They don't want anything to do with even the toxic screen that exists on that A site, so really strong pivot called towards C. You get a free site for this, and Sarah's gonna have to have a full rotate come back. We'll have, I think that's for orb for the retake at least. But look, this is the difficulty of the deadlock, right? The level sensor set up, they can play off, they can just bid their time together.
And if things really go wrong, we have an annihilation. So this round should be unlosable. Just to set the tone. Unlosable here for the side of ROSO, and they want to see it be clean.
Yeah, that'll be the bonus, right? Would be a huge win, would probably get them up to 7-9. We might even see like a C9 timeout first and foremost.
Might be. Time is so low though. Time to even get half. They know it's just gonna be a spray down and clean and easy. Paranoia, just for a bit of insurance there as well, and nicely done, ROSO. They're calling, like, winning out that bonus round is absolutely massive for them. Just 3 away from tying things up.
Yeah.
Now they push C9 on an eco.
And you remember how I said that you might want to choose your weaker half just because you know you'll have a slow start, you just want to get warmed up and then be confident? I think Ashley's the perfect example of that right now. She started, I think, 0-7, Ash, and is already back up to 10-12, and she's the caller as well. We mentioned that fragging IGL. We mentioned how we think the attack sides that are catered towards this double net setup, and right now that seems to be the case. As long as they can win this next eco, yeah, we'll further close this gap to 2 rounds. The only thing that's standing in their way is the gamble stack on C. It's this high-low. It's like double committed on the box. There's a triple. I can't even tell.
It's like the most. It's 4 people.
Yeah.
I don't know where everyone is necessarily, but it's the most diabolical high-low I've seen in a while. Annihilation's not gonna get anybody either. It's just bandits and sheriffs winning out that fight, baby. That's why you play that death ball. But Silly Girl is still gonna look to answer here for ROSO. Poison Orb popped. It's gonna give an opportunity for these 2 players to continue to play together, but also for C9 to group up.
Oh, and Sarah goes for the unexpected. And it will cost her everything.
One enemy remaining.
Doesn't even matter. Still 2 players. Uni able to get 1, but Shiny shutting that down. What a recovery there from ROSO by Silly Girl. C9, they had a huge advantage with that high-low. The picks that they're able to get, they wanted more as well. And now we're seeing them pull a timeout.
And you can look at that 2v2 and be like, what would have happened if Sarah full talked and tried the triggers plan or fell back and played the 2v2 with Lily? But all that matters now, because you haven't won around this half, is getting this next buy round 3, right? You even ripped at the very tail end, right? That neon ultimate, that overdrive as well, without conversions. That's not going to be a tool coming into this next. So I'm not expecting an aggro fight. Might be just to get an orb for Lily to get that nightfall for the retake. But then otherwise, again, I want them to chillax, hold back on the site, kind of like they just did on that eco. Like, the anchor in their side did pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this is where Interfighter gets to step in alongside Relic and just see what they can cook up, because honestly, right, it's been like hands off the steering wheel. It's been guiding itself, right, for this map so far for C9 without many issues, and this is the first hiccup.
I definitely think that the way that C9 play and just knowing the players on this team, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's not necessarily a strategical timeout, but just okay, let's get back down to earth. Let's bring the levels down back a little bit kind of moment, because I do feel like after having such a strong 9-3 half that honestly could have been a 10-2 situation there for C9, you could see the confidence at which they're playing with, and maybe a bit of that overheat here as well that needs to be tempered in that timeout. Let's see if they can make that adjustment happen.
Ooh, I mean, I feel like putting it up on Marceline automatically tempers her aggression to a certain degree. I will say, like, 100%. That's something I usually dislike, but in this situation is perfect. That alongside, oh, Phantom moment, certified.
I felt that one with my whole chest, guys. I felt that one with my whole chest. That is an unfortunate situation. Prowler's gonna deny that angle for a moment. You got nade there too. It doesn't matter, because Marceline's still gonna peek into it and take Silly Girl out.
The Vice detail is on top of this as well, right? They've been so fast to rotate, and there's not really a deep-seated seaside lurk either, right? I'm looking at Shiny and the lack of progression, just holding this B main so that they can re-engage, but the stack's gonna be here. The op's gonna be back on the line. Maybe no hits to beat them to see, like, I still feel like C9 are pivoting now in pretty good time.
That timing on the Prowler, though, was kind of crazy. Misses the information. They feel like it's okay to maybe go for a re-clear on the side of C9. Not expecting this many players from ROSO to be there. Paranoia is perfect. Gerald has a sight, still looking to fight a little bit deeper.
Not the close range up. There's no way, right?
30 seconds left.
Mercy is the type that would just like walk out, scoped. Will it happen? Will the shot land? Saw the elbow in main.
One
It's
enemy
clean.
remaining.
Now,
Spike
Vexen's
down
on the tap
B.
also gets taken out.
Just 15 seconds.
Trying to go for a late wrap over towards A. Heaven,
10
and it's
seconds
just
left.
not gonna happen for C9. They only have to live. Gerald can't even get that spike planted and opts for the save instead. That is just insane.
And I need to like see the
Marshalling
replay.
things.
I just need to see where things started going wrong, right? Because the support on that satchel in from Gerald was perfect, right? The paranoia prevents the retrade, and then it's a pause before Marceline comes out that I really want to know why it happened, right? Because they should have had the site, they should have had the plants, and I don't even think like the util was oppressive from C9 just yet, so it could have been like a moment of self-doubt too. So that's something I'll look back at the VOD, and maybe they can as well once they actually know that C9 wasn't encroaching just yet. But all in all, that's the round much needed by C9 following their timeout to convert to get up to double digits and strengthen the money, and now get their ults kind of resynced up with the buy situation. So ROSO headed back towards A. Once again, Vice is here. Once again, Stack is here. They have full trust in Sari C-side, it looks like.
They do. A bit more support here for Marceline this time. Doesn't have to chase off the Prowler herself, but the shot is gonna go wide. Sari with this walk-up position gonna deny the lurk there from Shiny, and that's the contingency plan out the window now for ROSO. I like the reaction though. The fact that they're going for the reclear after their lurk player goes down is huge.
Yeah. And I think they're starting to realize as well that they're not playing a standard setup on the C9 side, right? Like, you're expecting the Vice to maybe be alone. You might expect like a double controller C side, but Sari has been alone round after round, and oof, let's see what she can do this time.
I don't think they expect this. Oh, I don't. Oh, corner's gonna get cleared though. Still gonna be good for the shot. And now you've got Marceline, who's raced over with that operator. They open
30
the door,
seconds left.
and triggers actually the rotation from the rest of the team, largely on the side of C9. Everyone looking to group. They thought they were baiting B, but now Marcy's here with the operator.
Oh, and the
Shot's
paranoia's
still
late.
good. It doesn't even
Enemy
matter.
remaining.
She's gonna go for another
down,
one.
C.
And what's one more? You can't even get that spike there as well. Would
10
require
seconds
a
left.
miracle here for Ashley. They're just playing with their food at this point on the side of C9. Hey, gotta give it to Ashley though. She's got the quick moves to actually get out and actually save this gun, which is big.
Yeah, back-to-back round loss. This is probably going to be a roast time either this round or the next, depending on if they force up or if they full save around that hero rifle. The ults are there. I think they should just full invest and make sure they don't mess this round up, but doesn't look like we're going to get the timeout either, so are you just confident that if they all in towards a site with this showstopper that it could serve them well? And seems to be the approach A side. It looks like this similar setup to the last round, right? And no exception even with the shiny lurk, so we'll see what the A fight looks like this time around, I guess.
And a different angle for Marceline this time too. It doesn't get seen by any of the utility, and it doesn't matter. First time we're actually getting her seeing her shut down like that.
Yeah, now she's been good at that. Now they should be able to find their way in. Vegeta's backside, holding even with the ults.
Can't hear anything on the side of C9 at the moment. The team, though, of ROSO is not going to be committed with the walk-up that Shiny has. Timing is going to be insane, and she is going to get the drop on Lele. Now it's that pivot back to B.
Yeah, the flick was crazy. Mentioned the open site they have Sari trying to get some numbers back with a quick timing. Quick little peek.
Oh, sorry, Daryl. Everyone on ROSO is being so disciplined at the moment. You got that sensor as well for the drop. It doesn't matter when Ash is going to be wide on the angle. Now that deadlock utility in the post plant, all for naught.
Poison's off.
Oh, this repositioning from Shiny is so nice. Bit worried at how far Vex is as well on the tap scaling, but the paranoia comes in.
Last player standing.
No, wait!
One
Okay, I was like, nice paranoia, that's crazy. Almost the lineup there for Vexens and Uni. Still gonna come out on top. A round that has slipped out of the hands of ROSO. Match point here for C9 on their map pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's like finally the lurk play from Shiny pays off, and then they're not able to actually convert on the late B round post plant. That is a difficult one, and I don't know, maybe individually just again overcooked just a little bit when there's not a central voice, when each player is doing their own thing. I liked the paranoia combo, but once again, when they're both tucked so far away, it's hard to get a strong follow-up off of it. You saw Shiny was just a few seconds too late, and I think there was also just some lucky timings while nearsighted as well from Cloud9, so again, a little bit unfortunate in that regard, but still 5 rounds now needed to get to OT, and the op is starting on the right side again, but it's been pinged out.
Yeah, information given. They're not even looking to toy with it, though, honestly. Because they leave the insert here for Vexens. It's a bit awkward to get out since the other side of stuff's not available. Instead, we're going to actually go for the entire ultimate all the way to drop and sticking it here as well. With Uni off-site, this is huge with the amount of space that's been taken.
Yeah, this just feels like a retake angle from Cloud9, right? You're gonna have the arc rows laid if they can't locate it. And that's where I am a bit concerned about the ults that are on the side of ROSO to counter maybe a Steel Garden retake. And we'll see if that's exactly what happens as a setup on the post plant.
I do like the plant, though, at the very least. It gives that opportunity to try and play off a little bit more, but with a barrier mesh there as well blocking off stairs, things get really awkward. The aggression, though, is nice. Just posing that threat with the showstopper to buy a little bit more time.
Oh, ROSO hears everything. Shiny knows.
Such good information for the backstab, but the whiff allows Lily to come out on top. Annihilation has to be... Well, I don't even know what is going on. Nearly, like, fell, like, got blocked out of the door. It still manages to find its mark here, but that got awkward. That could have gone a completely different direction if we're gonna be honest. Things were a little scary, but ROSO still managed to stay alive.
She like phased through the door. She like shocked herself that she made it through.
I was like, oh wait, Annihilation is not in the picture. Wait, we're so back.
We're so back, yeah. And actually also just finding the timing as well ahead of that Steel Garden, where otherwise I think Lily would have like fully cracked that round wide open, right? And that was the entire idea, was to crunch through door off of the Steel Garden, since Gerald and that showstopper didn't really shut down that retake play. But it's kind of like an equalizer round, right? All the ult stripped away. We're back to the foundations, and we'll see which side is stronger, as we need 4 rounds for ROSO now to get towards overtime. And I will say ROSO are picking up the pace a little bit, getting more confident on just these early fights. They probably know as well that economy's a mixed bag on the C9 side.
Yeah, this is for certain.
Toxin screen down.
But I feel like going up against some of those mixed bag rounds, that's when it honestly feels like a little bit more pressure, because you feel like you gotta win it.
Yeah.
I like the paranoia being postured here on the information and contact of Marceline. Prowler doesn't see anything and is all fake. And with C9 being pushed up that far, they're aware of the ruse that ROSO were trying to sell.
And this is where we look towards double anchors here.
Poison orb emitting.
A snake bite. Ooh. That's gonna come out. No C's for Lily. C's for Lily too. Whoa. Keep your gun out.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Lily's got her gun out. No C's needed. No C's needed. Like the amount of time she's had moments like this map, I've lost count of, honestly. We've got the Viper's kit out now here though for ROSO in the post plant. Ashley has been so good after warming up into Lotus. It's all up to Uni to find these two players sticking together here in Bend. I like the hop up, but you're not going to clear out any information with how close
One enemy
ROSO
remaining.
playing in the pit. 1v1 is available. The drop is perfect. Silent there by Uni. A 3K to take this map home for C9.
Wow, just playing the geometry, playing the lack of information, and taking it one step at a time, and ending off with a Red Bull clutch feels characteristic to the way in which some of these closed rounds were denied, where ROSO could have even pushed this to the board in terms of expectations for this series. And again, we talked about the problems that popped up on Lotus, how they could translate, and it's just a matter of seeing how they actually pan out.
Excited to see the differences between both of these squads. We've seen a lot of depth between the two of them. We've seen a lot of overheating as well at times, especially when C9's feeling good. They like to get they like to put the pedal to the metal. That is for sure something that's, I think, a big part of the identity of that squad. On Pearl, though, we're gonna have to see the change in pacing, right? You do still have that neon team composition that allows you to go fast and dive in if you so desire, but the push and pull on Pearl always gets a little bit awkward with how long these rotations can be around the map, especially trying to wrestle for that mid control.
Well, getting into it, map 2 of our Swiss round 1 for stage 2 Valorant Game Changers North America, and it's ROSO starting on the attack this side, which we saw was their stronger half over on Lotus, at least in the wings of a comeback. And here it is going to be Shiny again, off on the lonesome on that lurk play while we go explosive in A main off this double duelist.
No one's going to be contesting on the side of C9, though. They have a passive setup. You've got the Thorns there as well for additional delay on the side of C9 and ROSO right now. They're just trying to see what information and what utility they can try to pull out of C9 and do a bit of exploring on the positionings across the map.
I was curious if the duels were going to backstab through art, but it's just Lily playing around with the C's, the pre-fire, the Thorns, even getting a kill on a Gerald is crazy.
It definitely is, and the flood to come in from Art is now here. They divvied up them from the A main players, but C9 are also very quick to respond. Advantage though for ROSO on site for now.
One enemy remaining.
All of a sudden, we're in a 1v3. Shiny grouping over towards A main. Taps that orb as well. Should have given the information away, but everyone's a bit too far to actually hear it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, not too much you can do in that situation. C9, great response to delay that timing there from ROSO. I think good discipline as well with the fact that it's not like the Thorns were popped early or anything like that either. Cool, calm, and collected.
100%. And coming into the next to get the standard buy-up out of Cloud9. I did like the art reclear timing there as well. I thought it was going to be a bit late from Marceline, but because Shiny didn't reroute through mid, but instead through spawn, it just ended up working out. And I think those late fights were a bit more isolated than ROSO was hoping to achieve with that A split initially. And that came from, again, I think, good space control around the fade from Lily. So now, just seem to see the full B-long engagement on the eco, and you mentioned it. Singsari tested with an arc rose in her back pocket. She's primed up for it pretty well.
Any opportunity at a lost area to go for a peek, I'm for it, honestly. But ROSO, they're kind of pigeonholed into B main at the moment with no information across the rest of the map. See, they can buy that time. Marceline takes a miss. Actually, not able to fully break out. So in that situation now, it's getting kind of crazy here on site. You just got ROSO flooding into their deaths, trying to make a bit of a difference, and they'll just get completely mowed down.
Yeah.
It's an eco round.
Yeah.
We go next.
You can't say ROSO didn't try, right? I mean, the C's hits Marceline, like they're trying to get her shut down early on, and just, I think the ping-ponging there with Lily Backstreet as well was just really well executed to keep each other protected on that Cloud9 side. And now, does ROSO expect the round 3 operator, which we said was going to be expected from us at least, like analytically, for the defensive core of Cloud9, how it's going to function on Pearl. And I feel like then at this point, Lotus was just a sneak peek of what's possible with the operator. And all in all, though, ROSO lucky to be heading towards the site that the aggro fight isn't, that the op isn't, and the only idea here for Cloud9 is to get on the deep line and then fully rotate, pivot off.
Yeah, they use that haunt to clear out that angle as well, expecting what you would shout it out. And look how much respect they're giving over, knowing that they didn't contest this space early over A.
Don't contact this. Wait for the Prowler. You have to.
We're holding our breath right now, hoping it's going to come through. And it does! But the tuck is so good from Marceline. Post on the angle to get one, and a quick slide out. No. Okay. I thought she was going back for more, because she would. Like, I had to hold my breath for a second, because Marceline absolutely would go back for a second bite.
And I will say, I think ROSO's default here looks a bit more structured, like they're having contingency upon contingency. The re-clear there after that A fight was really strong, and I think called back by, I want to say it was actually Vex that did. And now if Shiny gets the kill, the idea here is to go back towards B. And in the meantime, it's literally just seeing if
30 seconds left.
her or Vex can find a kill. And I think that's where Cena, we mentioned that balance of aggression and falling back. And I think they just found it. We watched Marceline even find it in real time in that round too.
Oh, man. Walking up here. Hard. The time is so bad and it's running so low though. C9.
Last player
Any opportunity from the side of ROSO to break back onto these sites. It's a flawless round. And I do agree, the structure looks good. I think for ROSO, it felt like they weren't 100% certain if C9 were going to get really aggressive on defense. We're expecting maybe a bit of a different look on that bonus, despite that operator being put up. And we're in trouble, like, figuring out what to do afterwards in the mid-round.
So now it's like, if you're not finding kills in the defaults that are giving those opportunities, we do have to see them lean into just kind of a heavier dive style. And I think that's so difficult without knowing where Marceline is playing. So heavy pressure to locate that from Silly Girl, or you can just, for the eco at least, you can just run it down and see what exactly happens, right? Prowler tries to set up Ashley, but again, there's the op. And again, there's Uni.
down mid.
Was that just straight through the wall? I'm assuming it was, which is really unfortunate. Now, though, we do have two players on ROSO trying to find some sort of timing in B main, but again, Sari's been such a consistent anchor for this team. There's no opportunity to find any of those holes here in C9's defense thus far.
And Sarah just confident, I think, to try and take these engagements as well. Words dissipate. Shiny's still trying to poke and prod with this classic, and chip by chip, the block will break. Marceline it back for the space to ensure that you can't get on a deeper line, can't cross over perhaps even to get the operator, but sorry, to get the upgrade because of the operator. And okay, they'll need it.
What a shot from Vexens. Hot hands though, denies the angle, the recovery of the weapon. Callback start. Taken out as well, but the high low is going to be absolutely deadly. There's no way you're breaking that one up. Might have a Vandal in hand, but it's a very tall task here for Vexens, a 3k for Lele, and C9 are up 4-0.
That round hurts because we saw all the eco work and we're just like, oh, Spike is still sitting down in mid plaza, right? It's like if they have Spike, that round goes so differently. And I think that's where the timeout's coming in. It's like there wasn't enough thought put into that eco round in terms of like the player distribution and where Spike was heading, and maybe they weren't all on the same page as to where that end goal was. So that small mistake cost them what could have been their first round. And yeah, also when you're down 0-4 coming back into a bye, you do really, I think, need the timeout just to get kind of centered here just a little bit. I do think though, we were questioning like Shiny and how the operator chamber was going to do. I think Sari's giving decent opportunities to at least get a shot off on her. So if she hits those, I think that could help them with these B late rotates just a little bit. So we'll see if they just go for that same kind of classic default approach, and also what C9's read into this adjustment is going to be.
It's so hard to go for a default though when you're not running the double initiator here up against a player that you know is going to be opping, right? Like you really want to just go for some of those like quicker hits after maybe trying to pull some of the utility out from like Lily and Sari, but it does get tough when it's especially the op versus the Vice and like the dichotomy in that kind of interaction as well, when you don't really have an agent that can take out those thorns there either. And for C9, it's all about them trying to funnel them into whichever setup they want.
Change their mind. No operator. A bit too pricey of a bill to foot, it seems, this time. And I will also say, with the run it back online for Ashley, who's having another unfortunate slow start to the map, but we know she can heat up. That could be a way for them to get the deposit for Shiny a lot deeper down B-long right off the rip, but I'm worried. Marceline's here yet again.
Ooh, not able to get it though. Good relay able to find a little bit of delay, and that run it back is going to go through here for Ashley. She's going to make it through, but not able to have the impact she was looking for. They do know that there's that minimum 3 players on B though.
And Sari. We'll recontact there, and we mentioned her being good for hers and getting back. This was a beautiful movement of the Vice back towards A, following the timeout, and she's just ping-ponging, looking for kills, and fortunately Vex finds the window where Marcy can't trade it. Now Marcy gets back on the A line, and yeah, you need the utility to be clean here, or just respect it. Oh.
Spike down
and
A.
they're using so much utility to force Marceline off of these angles, but still able to find her one before getting out. That spike also has to be recovered now all the way back into main, and it gets awkward because of it. You get the smoke out here as well. Marceline wants to go for a push through or just wait and try to play that operator like it's a shorty around the corner. Scopes back in.
30 seconds left.
Make up our minds, please. And Silly Girl is going to go down. The bait does come through here from Vexen's tapping that spike. In 1v2 situation with the Nightfall expended there isn't anything that she can do.
And literally doesn't look like she's taking a day off from the server. Again, the wallbang angles, the jiggle timings, like they are all looking pristine as well. And yeah, I agree. We look back towards Lotus, and how many times did Ashley actually get past Marceline on the op angle? Like she just like was killing her, right? Like every single time. And here I feel like I've seen Ashley the victim of Marceline so many more times as well. And it is a difficult one, especially when that is your primary flashes for some of these late fights too. And lacking them has not been posing well for, like you mentioned, some of these spike recovery missions or just setting up in the posts, and it's difficult, especially now the ults are making that difference on your buy. So 5-0 for C9. Full money reset once again for ROSO, so they're just deathballing into art. Why not?
They're deathballing into art, but trying to keep it hidden with how many players are actually there. Marceline has the knife out, walking on over, pops the overdrive, and gets that drop on Vexen. Somehow staying alive. Now trying to fight into the main players and trying to come through here from the side of C9. ROSO, they had a good reaction, knowing that they wanted to chase down those players over in A main, but it's unfortunate when you've got Marceline hot on your heels right behind you.
Yeah, I mean, she had her knife full out and still has time to get the overdrive to have that impact and speed up that savior of the players in a main. And like, I like how they converted an unfortunate circumstance and a timing that ROSO may have found on their eco into a late round just crunch play. Like, that's again how we mentioned how fast these C9 calls are coming, and it almost feels natural. Like they aren't even calling it; it's just like flowing that way.
You want to play?
Exactly.
Let's play.
I think again a repeat of what we saw on Lotus, right? With the ideas coming out from ROSO, but the replies being so much better from C9. Marceline not able to get that pick is actually something you don't see very often. You have the fake coming in here as well. Look at all the rotations that they're drawing over towards this B site. But you think about the fact that that wall is still up, has yet to be threatened there, and C9 have the information to go back.
That was a fake out, and Gia called the bluff. Has fought into a main and has taken every kill as a result.
With blocking vision.
Spike in hand, 31 HP to her name. Doesn't matter. She's gonna keep walking up. I honestly thought was gonna get the drop on Ashley there too. But huge there from Gia, being able to get those 3 players, getting the read. I love that she walked up as well after that call was made for that. It was gonna be that fake. Just such good overall map control here from C9.
And I mean, if Shiny doesn't get this kill, this round is basically wraps, right? They rotated off of Gia's contact, and the fact that B-wall was never tripped. So the fact that it's down to Ashley in the 1v4, well, she takes one down with her, it does not matter when C9 are sitting at a 7-0 on the scoreboard. We were hyping ROSO up so much for this map and what it could mean. And I think it's just the fact that Marceline got the operator on so early on that they've had so many issues getting by it.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I was kind of surprised that they tried to run that fake over at B though, because that vice wall has been there the last several rounds.
Gotta trip it.
Yeah, it's things that we gotta look forward to though, instead of keeping an eye on the past, things that we cannot change. Prowler out to get a bit of a deeper line, heading to the front side of mid control here for C9.
Okay, and again, it's an opening kill for Marceline. 7's the record to beat after Lotus, and she is on her way. Ashley, quick cycling of that run it back after the heroics she attempted in the last round. Does mean an open A site, does mean deep hot deposits, but that spike going down just yet. C9 can get here that much earlier for the retake.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see that, but this angle could be really good for Gerald, and this operator not working out as well for Marceline as it has in the past. Gerald wants a little bit more. Gia tucked into Flowers. You have the retake now incoming with that run it back from Uni coming in as well. Silly Girl out of the equation. And this crossfire could be great if you see C9 overextend. It's not going to be the case. A huge retake round here from C9. And Zobi, you called it out. That spike goes down so late. And I feel like prioritizing giving that orb to the Phoenix despite the run it back being used in the same round is a mistake that they're gonna look back on.
No worries, Charlie. No.
Yeah, it's just been difficult. I feel like the spike positioning has been, I think, a major loss for ROSO on this half in general. Again, we've seen how some of the ecos have fallen apart as a result of it as well, and just difficulties recovering it. And I think the other thing that surprised me about that round and how it went out, I liked that ROSO got the deep space, but then Gerald, I think, tunnel visioned with that overdrive a little bit too much on the solo player in Gia and Flowers instead of the players that were flooding in right off that Cosmic Divide so effectively out of Art, off a Uni's own run it back. So again, just some of the situational awareness that I think comes with experience, maybe not there in the fullest, but all in all, it doesn't mean it's going to take the pep out of there. A step, explosive deposit of Gerald into a main. And they are trying to set themselves up for a split, but this is the first time we've seen C9, I think, this far up into Art, ready to counter with this curveball.
This curveball is going to be huge. The Prowler actually missed, does find its mark this time around. Again, the C's is so good, but it doesn't matter because Ashley's still going to find the pick regardless. Lele able to get out at the very least. But this art control has been wrestled by ROSO. A completely taken by the team.
I like this, right? You had a bodyguard. You had Gerald there to kind of usher the spike through Art instead of it getting trapped or backstabbed by Sari. And now this would have been a pretty decent post plan, but your offsite player's been taken down. You've got to isolate fights where you can. And Marceline, always good for hers. We'll keep it at 2v2.
Two stars to work with here for Vexens. You've got the Steel Garden up as well. Both players
One enemy remaining.
stuck in it. It doesn't matter because you got the Sheriff in the hand of Silly Girl. ROSO finally get their first round.
And it is off of a really, really well-fixed A split attempt there. I think, again, Gerald being able to get out A main, get behind them after, again, all that delay was coming through from Uni and those curveballs one after another was very, very impressive. So they look like they want to run something of a similar capacity back here. I do think the A hits have been a bit stronger because they haven't figured out how to navigate the Vice Util B side, but just as we mentioned, Vice Util B side, they have the little grinder set up hopefully to deter the Neon over here towards A.
We love a little bit of conditioning. We love a little bit of conditioning. Set play, though, is just to actually get them posted on the angle, worried about that aggression that's coming through, while they look to proc back into mid for an inevitable crunch. I can't speak today, clearly. Silly Girl has a haunt in hand. Prowler to work with here as well.
The same plan as last round, but Spike from A main instead, and we'll say Uni a bit further back this time to counter Art hit.
Not able to find the picks though. The response is good. Recovery there. But now I feel like ROSO, they have to take a step back. Gotta do a bit of a pause. You don't know how many players have rotated over. Plan hasn't gone as how you wanted it to.
They've gotten their way in. And I think cutting noise here is the right call, hoping that these players will fall off, or maybe just waiting for the rehaunt for the fight, and that will reveal that they're here and ready.
Just die.
Players called out, cutting noise, and it working out, and definitely does. Vexens though,
30 seconds left.
30 seconds left. Wants to go for the rotation over to the B side. Does have time for it, but it does get a little
20
dicey, a little close comfort when you're just walking the entire. You got to start running now. Please start running now because that Neon rotates so quickly.
Okay, she'll make it. She's good for now. And she'll have double stars for the post, maybe one for a little smoke, one for a gravel to play around with some of the positional timings, or do neither and just take the gunfights, take the timing. Marceline is keyed in on it though.
Is in the angle being held. Vexen's not going to be able to do anything about it. Marceline comes out on top. I understand why Vexens wants to go for that. Vexens wants to go for that angle though, right? Like 1v2, the last thing you want is for Marceline to get posted up on you while Gia's just tapping the spike away to get rid of all of your utility. It's tough in that situation here. Unfortunately not able to chain together another round there for ROSO.
Yeah, and that's after, I think the big difference was Uni playing a little bit further back meant that curveball found more distance. Even if she couldn't get the follow-up frags on it, it was immediately Lily to do so. And I think the previous one had been like dodged by both and they were in a safe corner that you couldn't quite swing. So all in all, that's what stopped getting the initial push. I did like the pause and re-hit from ROSO as well. We kind of touched upon it just a little bit, but I think the re-hunt was the mistake instead of just like slow contacting back into it. So now, oh, not again. We're B-side. We're just getting off, right? It's hard when it's one of your duelists falling every single time.
Yeah, not just your duelist, but also your IGL, who's now trying to kind of problem solve the round, kind of swapping between everyone's POVs and whatnot, depending on the style that they kind of take on in those moments. But this contact play is going to be absolutely deadly for the side of C9.
I might be waiting on...
You are divided!
I was gonna say some sort of fade you to the cycle, and here comes the pop.
They're out. Sari's so good on that angle. Second one gonna be killed there as well, but Silly Girl is gonna come out on top now for the side of C9. They're happy to let this plant go through. They're so wary about the backstab through B-Link on top of that, waiting for this wall to fall.
Oh yeah, because the player they found was Sari. It was perfect. They can now go for that backstep timing. In the meantime, though, they got the Hall space for free off that Cosmic Divide, and it is converted into a perfectly executed round. Even if that kill has been found by Vex, they know exactly where she is coming from, and they can just stick it all the way. Cloud9 getting to double digits here in the first half.
Looks comfortable every single time, like fully in control. And again, that's not to take away from anything that we're seeing from ROSO. We've seen different looks from the attack from them, posturing outside of A, those mid splits there as well. Even different ideas as far as what utility they're using to try and deny those early angles that they are assuming that Marceline might be contesting the second the barrier is dropped. It's just that C9 have been so much better at fighting together in the long run.
Oh, right place, right time again. Marceline has a bodyguard ready, so you can't slide up and punish her. And Uni launching their own counterattack off the run. It back is good for one and not anymore.
Not a second, but the ops posted up on the angle for now. Silly Girl has something to say about it though. Backing up, operator out of the equation. Surprised to see them actually shifting over towards this B side. Maybe just look to trigger the wall, re-clear another area of the map, but at the very least for the side of ROSO, there's opportunity here with every player on C9 playing by themselves at the moment.
Yeah, the regroup here from Uni is nice. They haven't gotten too much utility here because the Nightfall misses Sari's position. Oh, you should see the C's one. It depends on the Nebula timing that was there.
There.
It's on this one out. The crossfire is good. And Sari is going to come out on top with the distraction that Uni is going to pose on the other side.
Switching
11-1 here for C9, and this is after a Lotus where we saw ROSO really try to push C9 in that map. We thought this one was going to be a bit of a different story, maybe even closer previously, considering the comfort that we've seen for ROSO on this map in OQs and CQs to get here.
Yeah, and I want to pose a hypothetical for C9 and this map in particular in the future, because I do feel like it has been off of obviously Marceline and a lot of these early op kills. So what happens if Marceline isn't having a good day on this map, or you're up against better and better opponents that might hit some of the shots that we haven't unfortunately been able to see players on ROSO connect onto? Will this map still look as strong is the question, Ash.
And it's crazy that it looks so strong, despite that, at the same time. Jump spots, though, here for Vexen to get the information. Stars will be placed, and she's on an island on the B site right now. Cavalry has got to start running over, and one of those players with Ashley is going to be taken down by Gia, re-clearing mid.
Vex still holding her own here. At least gets one more with the last clip of that ghost, and oh, Uni. That's one off. Gerald just has to wait for the final player, the piece of the puzzle, Shiny, to rotate all the way through spawn so they can navigate this 2v4 together.
It's gonna be so awkward to try and group up in this situation, find something. It's the timing that Gerald's gonna go for.
Last player standing.
Super low, but the arc start so good with the rose there. Poor Terry. Shiny though, somehow it manages to find two, but a match and series point for the side
Match
of C9 on ROSO's
They
map
look
pick.
tired.
It's like if we're both blind and we look just as stupid and can't hit our shots, right?
If I can't see you and you can't see me, like, we're good.
Exactly. That's what happens to Marceline to cap off that pistol, that map point, that series point for Cloud9. And yeah, I like the timing being taken. We got to see the strength, I think, of Sari being that late round, again, threat consistently with now the support of that Arc Rose, which is something you mentioned as the switch from the Viper now to the Vice. And it looks pretty strong here on Pearl. And now with weapons in hand, I'm surprised that the force weapon is stronger from ROSO, right? Sheriffs and that singular stinger, but well, we know what these players are capable of with these sheriffs. Maybe that is their best spot.
Those are some of the best damn rounds that we saw on Lotus, if we're gonna be honest. And like, it's actually just insane how mechanically good these players are.
We need a larger stinger sample size, all right? Then we can draw the conclusion.
Hey, I myself am a stinger girl personally, so I'm always rooting for the stinger in that situation. But right now for C9, I think they're so tempered with the respect that they're getting because they just know how many players are here, and this is exactly why we shouted out those sheriffs, because Silly Girl is able to do things like that. Such a great contact play alongside Halls, but now the burst is going to come through, and the tempo is going to be too much for the guards of the site here for the side of ROSO.
Oh, little hot hands kill though to prevent the spike plant. Suddenly numbers are back on a ROSO side. Full blind the whiffs though, and it doesn't matter. The collective power swing in one after another is enough to overwhelm, and ROSO survived to fight another day.
Nicely done there. The 2K was insane with how we had Vexens and Silly Girl playing that contact crossfire, waiting for that B main push to come in. And again, the mechanics are able to take them over the line. It's such a tall mountain to climb though for ROSO. This is a team though where we saw them swap sides and they're able to pull off some insane momentum plays, so you never know what's gonna happen there.
Yeah, I think this is a better momentum setup usually, winning the second in this fashion than even winning your third round bonus. So we'll see if that happens this time around. Marceline alone, Isolate gets easily killed, but the refrag is there. I'm surprised they don't double down on it and try and get these weapons, Gerald. Able to keep them protected for the time being.
I'm out of here.
Really dicey there, and Sari's gonna get the drop on them. That's exactly what we were talking about when it came down to some of the timings and again the mechanics for any player in the server at the moment. They look to tap.
Last player
Get
standing.
a bit of information
down
here
A.
on the side of C9. Draw out these players out of ROSO.
Spike planted.
Vexens has 4 stars to work with. The flash is good.
I'm gonna run it back as well off tap, but they can do whatever they want with it. They're trying to close things out here and now, and Vex has plenty of stars to work with, but what are you to cook up with them?
Taking that back.
Timing here is so important. Time's ticking down as well for Vexens to actually get that first half stuck. That smoke's gonna start going down in a little bit here as well, and that run it back from such a safe position.
Attackers
the thrifty
win.
round for C9 to take it as well. 13-2 for their first matchup here of the Swiss stage.
Wow, welcome back to Game Changers Cloud9. Again, I think a respectable map from ROSO in the first, but just dominance there on the second from C9. And again, we mentioned how this is a pre-existing core. They've brought in Lily back in for some additional firepower. And again, I think the calling is looking as thus. It's very smooth. It's very flowy, as we put it. And I think that is what's going to make this team really dangerous the longer that they are together, is they can figure out more set plays. They can figure out more things to call from. And again, this is them also. This was a map that's leaving the pool, right? And we saw how well rounded they were on this map and how concrete the calling was. And hey, I guess we don't have to worry about that question being answered later on about, oh, what if they get to better opponents and it's Marceline not having a good day with the op? This map won't be there to worry about it.
It won't. We'll have to see how the seeding goes heading into
Next week,
week 2,
yeah.
but it won't be something that they have to be concerned about going